like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then hold it up.
Yep.
Up, 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 up. There you go.
All right.
And then you're just going to take that top part and smack it down.
All right. Ready?
Yeah.
Okay, take one. The show is a hard-edge Christian music show, something that we often call hard-edge faith-based music. It's intended to be sort of an evangelistic outreach, if you will, using music, which actually goes back through the whole history of Christian music, at least modern Christian music that got its start in the late 60s. So we've got 50 plus years of history of this kind of music, and this show in particular has been on the air for the last almost 32 years. The purpose of it, a lot of people these days, they tend to look at Christian music as just entertainment for Christians, but I honestly believe in the evangelistic opportunity that's afforded by the music, that it gives people a chance to think a little bit differently about what they understand about Jesus, because there's so much church culture in Western society, and people tend to judge what they think about Jesus based on how the church culture appears or operates. And this gives them a chance to think a little differently about Jesus, because we can find people who play music that's relevant to the hearers, and then again, they can think a little differently about Jesus, and maybe they'll actually consider him seriously as opposed to what they would normally think when they come across your average, church-going Christian. There was a man who was part of the show from day one. His name is Jamie Carper, and well, Jamie would have done this show till his dying day, which he basically did. He contracted colon cancer and passed away after about 21 months of treatment. So, being the dutiful co-host, I soldiered on with the show, and now it's largely my responsibility, though I have a great group of young people who come in and help out, two of whom are Jamie's sons. I hope that people who are Christians who listen in have that same response, that it's something that they can enjoy from a spiritual standpoint, and also they get to rock out. To me, a lot of the really well-known bands, they tend to be very safe, I guess. They're sort of an insular culture in Christian music in a lot of places. A lot of what is called contemporary Christian music, or even within the genre of Christian rock. There are a lot of bands that'll play festivals, and you hear this kind of bandied about with people who go to these festivals. It's usually called youth group festivals, so it's like a big outing for church youth groups. Again, it goes back to the whole Christian entertainment thing, whereas I think the mission of the show has always been evangelistic, and you usually have to go into the harder genres to reach people who really need to hear the gospel. So I find a lot of stuff that's probably a little more underground than your DC Talk or your Mercy Me or Crowder, although we like Crowder here. But it's that sort of thing where we try to go for the harder edge stuff, because there are a whole lot of people who kind of live in darkness, who listen to a lot of the really hard stuff that's out there in the music industry. The future of the show is really up to God. It's not really up to me. In fact, since I've had to inherit the show from Jamie, it's been one of those things where it's almost been, it's been a party pretty much every week that the whole crew's here, because I think it's therapy for them, because we've all lost a really big voice in the, not just on the radio show, but in the whole music scene here. And it's tough, and it's their dad for that matter too. So it's really tough to think about, what do we do without him? But Caleb, who's DJ Chicken Nugget, he started coming in because he's the driver, and he brought everybody else, and then he decided to sit in on the studio, and he's got a wonderful voice for radio. So he comes in, he sounds great, And then of course it's got this twisted sense of humor that's just coming out on the air too, and that helped to bring that whole party atmosphere in, which is why I came up with the idea that it's your morning show that starts at 8 p.m. on Saturday. I mean, I think it's a really good show. It's a really fun show, obviously. We're laughing in between the recap sets, you know, when the music's playing, and then it just spills over into the recap. So we have a great time. I haven't laughed this hard in years, to be frankly honest. And it's just a wonderful time. We try to bond with people. We're catching a whole lot of new listeners, people that we've never heard from before, who suddenly like the show. They're listening in, they're talking to us about it, and we're just amazed that we're having an impact in the community through this little, you know, outreach with hard music.